today's topic is very specific to is AI dangerous or is it a statement AI is dangerous or not? I am Shashank Roy. I am recording this specific debate with our batchmates, with my friends, Siddartha Shivam, Manish. Debjit has not joined us yet. I hope he joins in between, and Kingsley David. Little bit brief. I was observing in my previous videos that I was the going over the introductions was kind of taking more time for and not letting us delve into the topic. So kind of try to portray this here. And fortunately, I mean, two of the panelists are from NIT. I am as well from NIT. Manish is a founder himself. And a founder of an organization he's running himself. Kingsley David works for SLK Software. Kingsley, I hope you're still working. I saw that on your profile and then picked it up.
Actually, I currently put up with UST Global. I'm no longer associated with SLK.
No longer with SLK, fine, fair. So I just wanted to double check that. But let me give you a context of the topic. So this was based on a video which I shared you guys, which was this is a TED Talk video by Sasha Luciani, and she's a scientist herself. She talks about three specific aspects of AI. One which affects our lives, our planet, and the climate. Three things being that. I picked up that three things to actually delve into it, start talking about it, take a viewpoint from you guys. It can be for the topic, all of us can be talking for the topic, all of us can be talking against the topic as well. It's completely on us. And AI being such an important tool and a disrupting technology that it has serious concerns on climate change. Because it uses a lot of our natural resources, it is eventually going to affect climate very adversely, and hence we'll delve into what happens. And of course, AI needs a lot of data churning. AI needs a lot of you would have heard Sam Altman saying a lot of aspects where he says that there's a lot of data used by AI, which is concerning, right? And it brings a concern of privacy issues. There are a lot of losses, as you say. If there are privacy issues, there are losses pertaining to the privacy issues. There are damages pertaining to data privacy and challenges around it. And the third very important aspect she spoke about was job losses, human biases, and deepfakes. Deepfakes is a very serious challenge. It can shake governments. If you remember what happened in Modi's recent campaign, one of the videos came out, which was a deepfake video, and regulations have to be brought in those aspects. So that's what I think, and I would like you guys to talk about it. And I hand it over to any of you who want to start talking about what do you think about this topic, what are your perspectives around it, and we'll go from there.
Human efforts that were able to increase the productivity of the human beings, but none of the technologies were ever threatening the human cognition aspect. But today, AI has developed those capabilities, and so definitely the world is not prepared for this kind of technological disruption. So this is one thing which is mostly talked about, but the other aspect of AI, aspect, so is less talked about. So I believe that whenever a technology comes, some kind of creative disruption happens. So the new forms will be replaced. The new technologies will give way to the older technologies will give way to the newer ones. And new opportunities, new prospects will come, new jobs will be created. In fact, I was going through one of the reports which said that already 8 million jobs have been created directly or indirectly with the advent of AI. So I believe in this creative destruction, and I also believe in the capabilities of the human beings to progress and to adapt to any kind of disruption which happens. So going forward, there will be a lot of new things and new prospects coming up, and the world will adjust. But one thing is that since AI has the capability to give permanent shock to the economy and the society at large, we have to adopt it in a very cautious manner. We have to give time
Fair.
to people, to the society, to adopt to it. So that is my take on this.
Interestingly, Sam Altman said the same thing. But you give OpenAI time to adopt, and it will transform. But there has to be debates, discussions. I mean, I was reading the article in the morning only where he said that governments need to start talking about how to regulate it. We are creators. We'll create based on what government allows. That was his. I mean, he was kind of notioning that he was saying that, and you kind of hit that point as well. Very fair points. Manish, over to you if you want to give a
Yeah,
perspective.
so I fairly agree with what Siddharth mentioned, right? I mean, and his perspectives. So AI, I consider AI like any other technological disruption when that happens, right? So there are some issues that the society has to face, right? Job loss is one of them. Every time a big industrialization or a big technology disruption has happened, there was a shift in skill set, right? And because of which the existing skills were actually made obsolete, and then new skills had to be learned. There is a generation. Most of the time, it was time that required, which can be compared to a generation shift, right? But until that time, like whoever were actually working with old skill set, they will become obsolete. Another problem with AI that I see is AI is very much like human. I mean, that's a technology advancement that has happened, right? Very much like human, but still not human. Now, the difference that I feel here is despite humans are also trained bodies, trained beings. Now, AI, for example, if you want to create a robot and which is like AI powered, and you can also train it, but it will not ever it's when I say you can also train it, so it will start behaving as per the training data that you give it to, right? As per what it is trained for, right? While humans have cognitive ability where they can also, despite their training, they can also still figure out and develop senses, decision-making capabilities, decide good or bad. Now this difference is actually putting us at a very big risk, right?
We're creating our own competition. We're creating our own competition, kind of thing.
Competition is a threat in both aspects, social threat as well as anti-social threat. Now, when I say social threat, it's like, they will compete with you, right? So they will take away your jobs until you find a better way to, yourself correct or prove yourself worth enough.
Yeah.
And anti-social threat is now assume, not assume, in fact, this happened, right? Cybersecurity algorithms, when they were not even AI powered, there were anti-state elements who were actually causing harm to you, right? Now, assume that the same threat when it gets kind of powered with AI is able to take its own decisions based on how big wrong they can do you. The threat
Yeah.
becomes quadrupled or even further, right? So this is like, I consider AI to be like nuclear technology, which which is a boon as well as a bane, right? Now boons are there, but to manage banes, you have to bring in a lot of regulations, lot of awareness with people and communities, so that they don't misuse it. And even if they want to misuse it, they are caught, right? So unless this happens, I think AI is, with a lot of benefits and lot of threats, it is actually time. I mean, we need to wait for a time to see what how wrong and how big wrong can happen, right? and how good, I mean, good, we all know, like, good doesn't matter actually.
Yeah.
For example, there are extremist people in our country as well. So even, say, for example, there are good people, they are not able to control handful of extremists, right? The same thing can happen. So what the point there is, the good people don't matter in the overall scheme of things. It is the bad
One
people who
bad
will,
proves,
yeah,
yeah, one
one
bad.
bad person can create a hell lot of havoc.
Yeah.
Right. And just to add, right, just before joining this call, coincidentally, I got a notification from Mint, the HT Mint, which is a business media house, suggesting me to read an article. And it was very much on this line that, even, say, for example, US is making up a task force having most of the leading company CEOs and technocrats as part of that committee, as an advisory board to president, as well as some security committees of White House, on how to safeguard their critical infrastructure, or against AI, if some sort of, I mean, some this sort of thing happen, where some anti-state element or anti-state country, right, they program and leave AI robots to destroy your country. So this is where we are going at, right? So people have started gearing up and preparing themselves to save themselves from such attacks and threats.
Interestingly, I'm going to quote Elon Musk here. No, Sam
Mm.
Altman here. He says that, see, teachers were not embracing the tech, but nowadays, if you see in colleges, AI is getting used to. I mean, it's getting regulated, and the regulated versions are getting used as a form of tech, and
Mm.
hence the point being, teachers are what? Teachers are sort of minor versions of monitoring and governing bodies of a college, right?
Mm.
So they have started realizing that AI is really useful for their students, and it could probably make them think in a different way. There are regulations, of course, and and one of the videos I saw on about Elon Musk talking about it, that hey, I'm not looking at AI as some I'm not worried about the aspect that there'll be a lot of robot armies which we'll be fighting against, but it is going to change the culture, change the way we think, and change the way we behave. That impact is what I'm scared of. Even Sam Altman said the similar thing. So,
I see.
I mean, with that, I want to ask Kingsley to give a perspective. Kingsley, over to you. Go against it, maybe. Go against. All of us are saying the same thing. Maybe go against it. But I'll let you choose, Kingsley.
Yeah. So thanks, Shashank. So I just want to start with uh, the concept of AI is not very new. It's not very recent, as most of us assume it to be. Even I thought AI is something that is catching up in the last couple of years, uh, and of course with the introduction of Sam Altman's OpenAI and ChatGPT, it has garnered a lot of momentum in the public media, and of course the job losses, as Siddharth mentioned, right? It has brought it to the, you know, in such a way that we're actually discussing about it uh, today, right? But if you see historically, AI has been around since the 1950s, ever since,
Oh, interesting. I didn't know
Alan
that, by the way,
Turing
Kingsley. I
or
didn't know that.
yeah, the
I thought that was true
McCarthy.
for blockchain. I thought that was true for blockchain. By the way.
Yeah, but uh, so whatever discussions we had today had already been had since the 1950s, and it might not have been to the scale of to the point of where an everyday user like a student or a teacher or
Uh-huh.
someone at your office is using it, or your own teenager is using it for his assignments. But it was discussed on a level where we were talking about wars, the cold wars, and how it could be used or misused.
Altered
Yeah,
the
yeah,
altering wars, change the direction of the war. I understand.
true. And of course it is, we cannot deny that it is changing, it is disrupting the world right now. Every other business is the way the whole world works. But to understand whether it is going to be a boon or a bane, or whether it is going to be something that we can censor, or is it already out of our control to censor? So we can actually try to draw an analogy between various other technological disruptions. For example, I would take the simplest example of mobility, where cars uh, when they were first invented, uh, how did they come across to the world, and then how did the world
People were
see
scared. People
cars?
were scared. I
Yeah,
absolutely. People were scared of
yeah,
it. They
and
thought this is not going to change the way we
it's so it's
travel.
all about control, right? So the man was able to embrace cars, and today we are able to proudly drive our cars and buy new cars, replace it with a better model, because cars were controlled. And to this day, we are able to control. Like, what if cars have their own mind? Like, I just can't do anything about it. And of course, cars are one of the most dangerous instruments in the whole world. You can hit someone, you can
Yeah.
get one, and you can drive over your own loved ones. It's
We're
totally
still
possible.
living along that side, right?
Yeah,
We still have a car in
yeah,
our villages, and we're still, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So I think AI is one such thing, and it is up to us how fast and how effectively we can control this technology. And and one very key thing about, if I have to again compare cars and AI, cars didn't learn on its own; it did what one asked it to do. And if we lost control, if we got drunk and pressed the accelerator more, it kills some people. Unless and then it was able to just move ourselves or a couple of us to one point to another. It just did what it was. Now the generative AI or the self-learning AI is much more capable than that, and is able to make its own decisions, make its own algorithms, create its own algorithms, even before we could instruct it to do. Now, where is it learning from? It is learning from everywhere. And if Manish builds an AI tool tomorrow, completely with Perplexity or ChatGPT, he's going to make sure it's the best in the market. And he's going to make sure it has all and every other source that it can suck information from. And he's going to make sure that there is the most intelligent one. So if ChatGPT can't tell me how the hypothesis testing or Wi-Fi cycle, huge I had trouble there. So Manish want to make sure that this GPT is much better than that, and whatever ChatGPT is missing, this one has to make sure that
There's development every step by step, right? That we
yeah.
learn from what we didn't have, and we.
So
That's what I mean.
that kind of unbounded information, like uncontrolled information, where you don't put boundaries from where it is to start, where we stop, it's going to make it vulnerable to a lot of things that we really don't want it to learn. Because the world out there, the internet, the virtual world out there, as we know, is full of right and wrong, and there is no clear demarcation. Like today, uh, Siddharth could be a national hero, and I just put a post there saying, "Hey, look at
Yeah.
Siddharth saving a child," and then an amazing set of comments come in, and then just one guy comes in and says Siddharth is from so and so background, blah blah blah, and then someone else supports him, and then another 50 more comments, Siddharth is a villain, and the whole
For all you
narrative
know, there's a
changes.
deepfake video created on Siddharth. I mean, sorry, Siddharth, I'm not going to wish for that, but I'm saying there could, all you know, the video which came out about one of the actresses of Bollywood. I mean, I don't want to name her, but if you see, if that something like that happens, the second day Siddharth is a villain, and I'm a
Yeah.
villain. If there's a, I absolutely agree, absolutely agree.
So if your kid who's watching and reading those comments can actually create perspectives, incorrect perspectives, not the truth in his mind, definitely the virtual child of Manish can actually go ahead and create the wrong perspectives and give me an incorrect answer to the question. So I think creating AI is more like bringing up a child in this world where you want to protect your child from all the incorrect information out there. But again, the question comes to the initial conversation we had about the conference, about the consortium we're trying to create globally in order to control it, to censor it. but it's like water you try to hold in your hand. It's already flowing freely now. How would you going to sponge it out and make sure that those are you know going to the right places, and the generative AI that you will be creating is going to be learning from the right places. Now that's a very $1 billion question, I would say, that will
You put a
actually shape
tinge
up
to
the
you put a tinge to that fear. I mean,
uh,
you have that slight fear where you said that I don't
uh,
know if we can control AI also or not. So that's
more
interesting.
than a fear. I think it's food for thought. More than creating new technologies using AI, I think there is a lot of market to control and shape AI. What if um, I mean, if I'm given $1 billion as from venture capitalists, I would definitely create an AI tool to make my money. But
I get it.
I but the world out there needs something, some another invention or a discovery. I'm not sure that would actually control this monster out there.
Yep.
What if I'm able to create a bird or a something like that, which I can control this horse so that it runs the way I want it to.
Yeah, Kingsley, very fair points. I want to go to Siddharth now. Siddharth comes from a PSU. And as initially we spoke about, I want to understand, Siddharth, what do you think? What happens? I mean, you don't have to go into specifics of your organization, but how do you think PSUs are embracing this? Are they scared of it? Are they feeling? I mean, your organization could be a reference, I'm sure. And are they feeling afraid of it, or they want to take it with both hands? They have already started testing. What is happening? I mean, so that's over to you.
So one advantage with the PSU is that they mostly work in a monopolistic environment. So
Ah,
their business is not at threat. They are not threatened by,
any time of the world, right?
and even the employees don't feel threatened because there is job security. So everybody is comfortable. And but yes, the debate is going on because if you see, the government of India has also set up a task force on AI, and the Niti Aayog came up with a white paper on AI.
Okay,
So discussions are already on in the government arenas, and the government has started a multi-stakeholders kind of approach. So whenever there would be meetings in Niti Aayog or in the ministry, all the PSUs people would be invited along with the
okay,
industry leaders and the business people. And this topic is being debated as to what are the, I mean, how to get benefited out of AI. At the same time, how to deal with the challenges which AI is going to pose. So
fair.
mostly the operational part of the PSUs, the operational areas, AI is going to help a lot. It is going to improve the efficiency. It is going to reduce the cost. So PSUs are now gearing up to adopt AI in the operational areas.
Okay,
But
interesting. Yeah, go ahead, Siddharth. Please finish your thought.
but yes, AI. I mean the business, the corporates, the way the corporates are using the AI, that kind of technology adoption will take a lot of time for the PSUs.
Fair. But I mean, coming to PSUs per se, I have worked with a lot of PSU banks. PSU banks adopt everything very fast. Everything. Trust me, that's the truth. They were the first ones to have a data center inside their setup. They are right now. They were the first ones in the country to test blockchain. I'm hearing I'm no more working with PSU banks right now, but they were the first ones to, in fact, start doing POCs or POCs, proof of concepts on AI. So I'm afraid the way they go after and start questioning us. I used to be, and was interacting with them a lot, and that's why I posed that question. What are they thinking now? I mean, your sector could be specifically much safer, but PSU banks are thriving with competition. They compete with each other extensively. But fair points. Manish, I want to ask you, I mean, going specific to you as a organizational founder, you having your own organization, what do you want to leverage? I mean, I know you're for the idea that, AI is useful, it has to be regulated, but how is it impacting your business? Is it altogether not at
See,
all.
if you are in technology, you cannot, not even if you're not in technology, right? So AI is a kind of technology that is coming in, which you, even if you don't like it or you like it, you don't have an option to ignore it, right?
You have to choose to use it.
you have you have to choose to use it, and if you, I mean, to have that competitive advantage as well, right? So from organizational perspective, I don't think anybody can afford to lose it, or anybody can
Fair.
afford to. You may have philosophical differences and everything, right? But you will have to cope up with it, you'll have to adapt it, for with better intentions, with positive intentions, constructive intentions, or if you want, you can also have destructive intentions, and have craft something out of AI, which is what we want to get regulated. Yeah, you won't
Fair,
believe,
fair.
Shashank. Like, I want to just add to Kingsley's point that AI, as long as it was in labs, right? And the discussion is going on since 1950s. That is true. I graduated in 2003. Yeah, I mean, at a bachelor level. My final year project was based out of AI.
Oh my god.
Okay, my elective was
Seriously?
AI. Yes,
This is information too. I learned something today, is that I didn't know AI has been is been there in the industry.
it
I
was there, and it was there in academics as well. So I come from University of Mumbai. Okay, and imagine, like, at an university level, you have a sub elective of this kind, right? In 2003, and that too in India. And
Nice.
my final year project was religiously done, not copied, not got. I mean, I did not pay
I
somebody to
understand.
get it, make it for me. It was a MATLAB based project using neural network, package of MATLAB, and we implemented signature verification system at that point of time, right? But there was, I mean, the euphoria in market was so low. Ideally, everybody in market were looking for either C++ programmer, to work for networking or
It was
financial
too
domain.
ahead of its time. You have
Yes,
to
so
rightly say.
nobody actually acknowledged whether you have done AI or not, right? So very interesting projects that I mean, basically electives that I had taken in my final year was robotics and AI, and now they are, like, in much euphoria
Actively, yeah.
than it was then, right? So
Nice.
the point here is, like, okay, market euphoria on one side, but this happened, rather the market euphoria has been created, not only people, not only because people became aware of it, but there was a computational shift, right? The computational capacity shift that happened during the course, which made it possible that you are not now able to program neural network much faster, and make them learn few things and get the output of it. So as trivial system as signature verification system, it was not not commercial ready at that point of time. There were issues. You won't believe when the examiner came to evaluate our project. So we had to ask him, sir, by the time, and it was not like one time train and use kind of a model that we created, right? Every time you run the program, MATLAB program, you have to train it and then give some samples to verify, right? For example,
Okay,
signature
okay.
samples to verify.
So it's more like a ML model which you were training to, I mean,
At
pick
that time, it
knowledge
was
from
like,
the
yeah, there
machine.
was no ML kind of concept
Logic
that
term
was,
or
yeah, it
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, just okay, you use your programming neural network. And we had to ask examiner, sir, it will take 2 hours for getting trained. Meanwhile, why don't you evaluate everybody else's project and then come back here?
Oh,
So
because the
he
computer was not that heavy. I
yeah,
mean,
so
it
initially
had
he
to.
found it little weird, but after 2 hours when he saw the result, he was like amazed, and he gave us very good marks. So that
Nice,
right?
nice,
Yeah.
nice.
So
Nice. Debjit just joined. Debjit, I'll give you thanks for joining in, firstly, and I'll give you background what we did. We kind of went over with everyone on what they think if AI is dangerous or is it, right? The whole topic was that you come from an AI organization, and it was very important that you joined. We wanted to have a perspective from you, and we talked about what Sam Altman thinks, what Elon Musk thinks, how are PSU banks in India and PSUs as organizations are trying to capture this? Are they feeling afraid of it? So these are the kind of discussions which we had. I want you to give your opening statements, give us a perspective, and maybe go against it, saying no, AI is not dangerous. We are all saying AI is not. No, say AI is dangerous. Maybe that. It's over to you.
Thanks a lot, Shashank. No, really appreciate the entire discussion, because this today is a very, very important segment and a point of conversation for every child that is, whether in the space or outside the AI space. And fortunately, I am working in the AI space itself. But let me just give 2 cents of what is my view of it, if it's dangerous or not. Anything in excess, I feel, whenever it's being done, let it be in terms of automation or non-automation, is harmful. Now, fortunately, AI is something which has been able to eliminate a lot of the redundant work in any business or in any scale of industry, and that is precisely the way, uh, at least today, humans are looking at what and how we would be able to add that particular value in terms of any industry or scale. But when it comes down to the dangerous segment, it is a very negative word. Again, the
I
negative
meant it to be negative. I meant it to be negative.
the entire negativity comes in from a lot of apprehension about
Fair enough.
industry and not knowing the details of it, but also I feel watching how Tony Stark has portrayed the entire AI stuff to be taking outside the control of humans. Well, we are far away from anything of that sort, at least today, what it is. It is a much more controlled environment than what everyone thinks about. Even though we call it as a rule based or a codeless segment of the industry, it is governed by specific rules of any business or any country, let it be in
Fair.
the as one of the first priorities. So essentially, the deployment of any such AI or ML algorithms would define a lot of pre-existing rules, but also the architecture of the said thing to be deployed in a controlled measure. It can never go outside the control from where we are today. I'm not having a peek at what the future stands, at least 20 or 30 years down the line. So today, at least, that pose of danger is something that we are, or we should be away from as humankind. But essentially, just coming back to the point of how we would be able to eliminate the entire notion of it being dangerous is the knowledge point that comes in. And AI is something that is being involved in every business or every scale of the industry. And there are thousands of different applications to the same concept. And as humans, we also understand that it's practically impossible to know the different thousand implications of it, but at least try to widen the knowledge or the knowledge gap that is today present, in terms of firstly understanding that anything that we are trying to automate is always in a controlled environment, and just reducing human intuition or effort is something that needs to be put in a lot of mindfulness and care, because in the end of the day it needs to be productive, not counterproductive, in terms of
Uh-huh.
automation, right? Yeah.
So, I mean, I have a follow-up question. When you talk to your customers about your product, and I'm going a little specific, pardon me for that, but I'm curious. Uh, do customers pose this question that, hey, I don't think I can control your tool. I don't think this is going in the right direction. I think you gave a glimpse of it, but what are your responses? How do you handle it? There are fears in the market, which I mean, where people can generate images or are prompting a OpenAI tool, I mean ChatGPT for that example, and the prompts are very dangerous, are biased based on the guy who has created them. So biases are coming from there. So if you've seen the video which I've spoken about, she talks very specifically about that the biases are from the creator's mind, not from the AI's mind. So AI doesn't have its own mind, but how do we start handling those questions from a business perspective as well? Is what I want to. I'm just curious about that.
So absolutely, the apprehensions are there in every scale and in every business. Fortunately, we work with any brands in the top Fortune 500 or Fortune 1000. So they have a significant impact in the global scale as well when it comes down to the organization level business. But essentially, whenever we pitch the product, it is always in terms of specifically working within the brand guidelines, right?
Okay.
And that needs to be as one of the fundamental elements in terms of how the solution of my company would fill in the gaps, but still not keep it outside the control of the business or the brand guidelines over here. And specifically talking about the images as well, it is although it is very understood that it is very understandable that anyone will use Mid Journey or any other tool just to write a few prompts to generate these maybe a FMCG brand working with outside outside the spectrum of brand guidelines in a particular country. But those cases are very unlikely to happen, to be honest, because we work with them, and the specifications of the brand guidelines, the specifications of the element to detail on every generation of a AI based prompt is involving a lot of copyright issues, lot of regional fields, regional connections, which would never ever work with a Mid Journey type of situation. Yes, we can
Right.
eliminate the process of maybe a, a team that takes in about 2 weeks to generate a video. The same team can generate the same video in less than 2 hours, but giving off the entire copyright issue, taking in thousands of images and combining it through Midjourney and creating a false a video out of it, that is never a case which is going to be compliant. And till now, at least from my experience, that's what we have seen. But we want to be as open as possible when it comes to
Sure.
giving control to the end user of what the solution is going to do, even with the AI working within the brand guidelines.
Thanks, Debjit. And interestingly, I want to pose another question. I was thinking about it that we as Indians, we don't we don't talk about climate at all. I mean, let's be fair. I don't know why we don't do it. There are hardly what maybe 10, 15 organizations which talk about climate change. But as Indians, we don't. And I want to go specific to maybe all of you and maybe start with Kingsley. Do you AI is going to use a lot of our compute power? Compute means semiconductor. Semiconductor means there's going to be a lot of mining. What do you think we should do about this now? I mean, let's talk about it, and then maybe somebody listens to us, right? That's the idea. Do you think we should do something about it? What is that? Is there a thought process? Kingsley, over to you. Maybe other after that, I'll ask others as well.
Yeah. So before we touch upon specifically to the climate change and how will use AI as a tool, as Debjit pointed out, anything in excess is going to be a problem. And also another couple of points is how it's about how something Manish told, like it's about how the producer wants to create that AI tool and influences the user to use it in a certain way. So unless we sell a certain product, the consumer is not going to consume it. Uh, it's because we make it available in the market, the consumer takes it. Okay, this is what it's meant for, and this is how I'm going to use it. And then he comes up with his own version of using it. And then, but there is a limitation to his way of doing modifications and way of modifying the usage of the product. But the power solely or primarily predominantly lies with the creator of the product. So as a creator, if they are able to shape uh, the product in with the ethical way, in the right way, I think half of the problem is control there.
It's
It's all
solved.
about
Yeah.
control. Yeah.
It's
So
it's
I
the same
wouldn't.
example you gave. The car needs to be created in a way it's safe to drive.
Yeah, yeah. So what if Henry Ford was maverick and like an extreme person like Mr. Musk, and he wanted to make all the cars like the ones in the GTA where every other car will go and pounds on another people, and then all the blood splashing,
I
and
know,
that's
I know.
how
I
the
can
cars
imagine
were
already.
created for.
Maybe
Then it would have been this monster, and people would have abandoned it long back, or something else. The history would have been shaped in a very different way. I think
fair.
AI, as we are at the it's a watershed moment for the entire world, and we are at the at the at the very important moment in history. So as business owners, creators, technologists, strategists, I think it's up to us to um, control the use of AI. For example, I don't want to use AI to take care of my kid. I want to be there to take care of my kid, while I want my AI to do some other jobs which I don't want to spend a lot of time, like if I have created an electric pump and I wanted to make some smart decisions to make sure that it brings in the water, the right amount of water to my home for all the needs that I have, so that I don't have to spend like $1 million or a lot of time bringing the water. So that's something I don't want to spend time with, and I want to use that time to spend quality time with my family. And so if I'm going to replace AI to do that job where I'm supposed
Fair.
to do, then the whole purpose of
Very
AI
valid
being
point.
a tool in the hands of man is lost. And we are unnecessarily giving it power to replace us. And that's where the world is so taken over with, right? So how do we replace? So when we say AI, it's not another chip that comes to our mind that makes decisions, or even a tool like a fridge or a car. It is a humanoid. It's a very much human looking person who does things that we do. I think that image should slowly be replaced with AI being a mere instrument rather than something that is going to control us. And with that change in thought process, we might be able to create smarter tools and create smarter users of those tools as well. So now touching upon the point of climate change, it's very much
Yeah,
needed, and not many of us have, unless the government drives us to. We ourselves are not.
we don't think about it, right? We
Yeah,
don't.
we're not motivated. I'll be honest about myself. I don't want to call anyone else out,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm not. I wouldn't be as motivated as I am in making money using a technology. Uh, I would rather spend time on that than thinking about climatic changes, unless the norms are put in by the government and many other regulatory bodies, which is very much needed. Us who are closer to this technology, living in high dense urban populations, uh, so where the effects of climatic changes are already overridden by the abundance of resources that are flowing
yeah.
to these places, right? So if we move to a smaller town or somewhere where the resources are very less and are further depleting due to the climatic changes, then we would probably be thinking about solutions in those areas. I think we will have to circle back to the other discussion we had the other day, the tier two cities, and you know,
Are the
um,
ones we should move into.
I think we have to
And
bring
spoil
AI
it.
over there. Yeah. So, so we have to create our own like Marvel universe, this debate universe where you interlink all topics together to understand how we can use this AI technology better. Move people to tier 2 cities or tier 3 cities or villages, and make sure people are exposed to such challenges, and so they
And
are
then they
driven to
understand and
think
then
for
realize that.
solutions in those angles.
Yeah,
And use it as a tool rather than a controlling
fair, fair.
equipment. Yeah.
Very valid points. I want to go to Siddharth. I want to understand how the power sector deals with this, and I think I'm itching to ask that question. Do you think power sector should put regulations saying that data center should not use more than this much power to generate, whatever the country should not? I mean, this much segment of the pipe will be given only to AI, and not more than this. What do you think?
Yeah, I think
I mean,
that kind of
sorry, I'll
restriction
pause here.
would not be practical. So these data centers are entire, AI engines. They are consuming a lot of energy. So we need to come up with some kind of sustainable solutions which could address this problem. I went through the video which you shared, and that scientist is talking about how these AI models are creating threats to sustainability
Yeah,
by
yeah.
using large amount of energy. In fact,
Yes,
she has herself developed some tools to measure the this
yes.
impact of these AI engines, and she's talking about how even a smaller model can take can consume energy consumed by 30 homes in a year.
Yep, yep,
And,
yep.
and the larger the model is, the more energy it consumes whenever they give it a prompt to search something.
Correct, correct. Each prompt waste so much energy. That's what she meant. Yeah.
It's going to consume a lot of energy, and this is going to be a real problem in the future. And it's not just the problem of energy consumption. Even the data centers and the servers, all those need a lot of water for cooling purposes. So and we are in a world where water scarcity is becoming a grave.
Very high.
It's a grave threat. So we have to, that's where the concept of responsible AI comes. So we have to understand how best we can utilize AI and for what purposes. Because if we start utilizing AI and building models for each and every work, then it will not be sustainable as far as energy consumption is concerned. So for limited use, for responsible use, and for tasks which can be prioritized, we can have resources to supply that amount of energy, and especially renewable ones, because
Planned usage is what you mean. I mean, there should be a visibility that this much will be consumed.
there is a proper resource and energy allocation, and that will come from the renewable energy resources.
Interesting.
So, because the fossil fuels, if we keep on using the fossil fuels to develop these AI models, it will be really very much harmful for the entire world. So, this again, this development in the AI world demands that we expeditiously develop our renewable energy resources. So presently we are talking about harnessing the solar, wind energy, and then developing hydrogen economy. So all those developments have to be emphasized and expedited in this area.
Yeah, interesting. That's very very valid point. Manish, you come from semiconductor background. I know you have done a lot of research around that. It's a big problem to keep mining for such resources. Climate change is real. It's happening in Bangalore. It's happening in Pune. It's happening in Mumbai. It's happening everywhere, right? Water scarcity is evidently visible because we need water every day. But coming back to the first question which I wanted to pose, what do you think? I mean, you have worked in organizations. I don't want to name them, but what do you think these organizations should be doing or were doing to limit such things, and AI being an added push to the whole ask of more and more semiconductors,
So I
more and
think
more compute power?
organization
What do
per
we
se,
do?
they have already started taking steps, right? Because based on the 17 sustainability goals given by UN, and
Okay.
the government, there is a government push and incentives as well to get into line, right? Like for the organizations, um, they are all kind of trying to prove themselves better on ESG parameters as well as sustainability parameters, because ESG encompasses or has all these sustainability goals included into them, right? So organizations are taking steps in those directions. Very rightly pointed out by Siddharth bhai that they are turning towards renewable energy, solar, wind, and so on.
Responsibilities. I
Responsibilities,
think
right?
it stuck in my mind because of that.
Yeah. So, for example, Intel, like one of the major chip manufacturers in the world, they have already migrated their some of the fabs completely to solar energy, right?
Okay.
So within the campus itself, they have all the solar panels installed, solar energy harnessed and used in their fabs, right? Accordingly, say, and one more thing I wanted to point out is, like, this uh, sustainability or energy crisis or carbon emissions is not specific to something. I mean, maybe AI may be adding on to it, but it is not specific to AI. There are other variables which are in place, which are causing the requiring that, demanding that rather high energy. For example, blockchain as well, right? I mean, people use high end GPUs to mine
Yeah, to mine
bitcoins,
cryptos.
and they are part of the process. It's not that they are, like, just for the sake of mining they are mining it, because when they mine it, they are actually uh, concealing some ledger, right, in some or the other way, right? So they are actually adding to the process of blockchain as part of the blockchain process. So it's not that just AI is demanding that. AI is just adding into the demand, and if you limit energy, saying that okay, this is your quota within which you can operate, like to data centers, then you will limit innovation as well. So I don't think limiting is a solution. Yes, reducing the fossil fuel based energy is required, whereas adding on the energy coming from renewable sources is what is required, right?
Fair.
And just to uh, counter one of your statements that Indians are least bothered about it, right?
Yeah,
In fact,
please.
I disagree with it, because I think Indians were, as part of their culture, right, they were very bothered about climate change, rather for preserving good environment. It is, as part of industrialization, as part of modernization, as part of Western influences in India, we were given these polythene bags in our hands. You
Yeah,
remember when I
yeah.
was growing up, when I was a kid, they were actually, we used to always carry tote bags, right?
Oh
Homemade
yeah,
tote
yeah. The
bags,
jute bags,
jute
jute
bags,
bags
or homemade,
were
just
the thing.
some
Correct, correct.
out of tone
Kapde wale bags,
kapde wale bags,
cloth
right?
bags.
To shops. If say for example, if we just forget, just in case, to carry it, if it's a small item, even at that time, the shopkeepers used to keep newspaper based envelopes, and in
Bags,
that they used to give you, say for example,
stuff
eggs,
in,
or
yeah.
small items that you can carry. So that the thing is coming back again, right? Very similar thing is coming back again. Now they have again stopped polythene, so it is given to us. They made us unlearn it, and then now they are making us relearn it, right? In context of
Interesting way to
modern
put it.
technological changes that happened, so okay, that is again led by Western countries, so that's where they have to. If they created the problem, they are leading for the solution. But I think as a culture, in India, we always worried about environment as part of our day to day living itself, right?
Yeah, fair, fair, fair.
Yeah.
And now that you're jogging my memory, I feel yeah, that's true. That's true.
not
It
just in
was,
not
it was.
just in from with respect to bag, right? Otherwise as well, like we were, as part of our like living in in daily life itself, right? We used to be instructed every now and then to preserve electricity, to preserve water, and so on. Now, water was something that we had. I mean, at least while I was growing up, it was in abundance, right? I mean, there was nobody was thinking about that water is less, like we are doing it in Bangalore now, right? It is like there is a crisis, so save it. But still there was the emphasis that you shouldn't waste water, right? Electricity,
It's a
okay,
natural
it
resource,
was a
correct?
charge, it was a chargeable commodity. So from that perspective as well, our parents used to say, okay, don't waste electricity. If you're not there in the room, switch off the fan, right?
Correct.
So don't waste, because it is a upfront cost is involved there. But water, it was very cheap, it was in abundant, but still our parents used to instruct us, okay, don't waste it, right? So
Yeah,
we were, a kind of, as part of our culture, we were aware of preserving our resources.
yeah. Fair points. Fair points. I have one very interesting question. I want to go to Debjit with that. Sam Altman, I was saying this earlier, spoke a very interesting thing. He said that misalignments in the societies where AI creates this without its knowledge is the worry he has will have the largest impact. Which means that if there is a prompt, somebody in Africa doing, creating a prompt that, hey, this is how I want to do a certain thing, and the response is very adverse. Something, just for example, he talks about LGBTQ rights, let's say, and he's prompting about that, and the response is very negative, which is not the normal scenario in the world. And somebody in Africa, I'm just giving an example, random example. He takes that thought process and creates a motion around it, creates a mass motion around it. Do you think is a scenario like that? I mean, firstly, can that happen? And if that happens, how do we deal with it? It's a fear by the greatest leaders himself who created OpenAI. I'm just trying to say, is that a statement or is that something which we can do about it?
No, definitely. As in, that's actually very, very concerning. Just
Yeah,
a mere thought about it as well, because right now, today, even let's take a basic example of ChatGPT. Everyone on planet Earth has the access to that, and anyone can use it to any way. But just to give a certain perspective to what I'm going to be saying, is essentially a tool like ChatGPT is put in a controlled environment within, let's say, the IM boycott campus itself, where there are strict rules
Yeah.
to how you would be able to use it, or else it is forbidden to use ChatGPT to for any of the education or curriculum purpose. Just taking that into perspective, the amount of framework that is put in by IMK around it is what allows us to engage or use ChatGPT for the said action. Now, when it
Right.
comes down to a global perspective from a countries, let's talk about, say, why move to Africa? Let's talk about India itself, right? A person sitting within Bangalore itself who wants to explore it in a radical manner. That's where the tool has the capability, because it is not initially trained around what maybe the cultural bandwidths are within a city like Bangalore, or within a framework like India. What is allowed, what is not allowed, can give out results or responses
Absurd responses. Absurd. Absolutely.
which
Right.
can trigger a certain part of the public. But it is also very important to understand that you can never be 100% correct with any sort of thing. You're always, some or the other ABC answer is going to trigger 1% of
Somebody.
the entire population. But we shouldn't be focusing on that 1%, but rather looking at a bigger chunk of the number, but definitely a big thing to be concerned about. And that is where, again, the first point comes into play, is how every country is putting in the set frameworks for it to be applied in the right manner. It is very important the execution comes out in the right way. But again, I am talking from a perspective which is in my industry, which is very much guided by these brand guidelines.
Got it.
And when it comes down to the open web over here, a lot of the things or the paradoxes change, which can effectively implicate something radical. But again, more than happy to discuss everyone's thought. Probably we can just
Yeah. Yeah.
come back on a consensus thought process around how we can exactly put a stone on this entire motion in the next 5 years or 10 years. Yeah.
Fair. Fair. Anybody? I mean, Siddharth, you want to say something about this? I read this and I was like, okay, this is interesting,
I'm
but
also
I
worried
get
about,
what Debjit is saying.
yeah. So, in fact, I am also more worried about this bias aspect of the AI, which we are talking. So, in fact, I have heard many leaders talking about this bias. So, like you were explaining, there are two kinds of biases. One comes from the data itself.
Yes.
So the data itself can be biased, and it can also reflect the bias of the human beings, like those who have created the data. And secondly, the bias can also come from the trainers who are training the model. So these biases have to be eliminated. Otherwise, AI can give solutions like you were talking about the case in Africa, or let's say if I
It's
take,
not a real case. I made it up actually.
okay. So
Some.
let's take one scenario in case of India. So in India, around 69% of the under trials in jails are from SC/ST communities. Now, let's say a tool is built to assist the judges. An AI model is built, and this data is fed. So the AI may conclude that most of the people from SC/ST communities are,
Are criminals.
yeah, they are criminal, or they may have criminal intent. So it can come to that conclusion. And imagine a scenario when it it uses that bias and gives some very absurd results to the judges, and the judge makes a decision based on this kind of inference. So that would be very dangerous for the society.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I am worried about that kind of situation, and I am open to the discussion about how we can, if not eliminate, how we can, reduce those biases. So, like people are talking about different ideas that okay, so there should be some kind of regulatory oversight about how these models are trained to ensure that a diverse range of data and diverse, teams having diversity, they get to train the model.
Right.
So those kind of discussions are going on. So I would like to know some more ways from all of you
Yeah.
to
Fair.
how we can tackle this bias problem.
Kingsley,
So
your thoughts? You want to? Yeah.
yeah, so back when I was in school, My class teacher used to have a very interesting opinion about the students who are the outlaws or the outcasts. Right?
Backbenchers.
The backbenchers. So her strategy would be the one who causes the most trouble would be the taking the most coveted position of the class monitor. So the one
Okay.
who uh, is probability to disrupt the class would have to make sure that he is the one who maintains the decorum in the class. So when you give such a responsibility, it's not going to work on day one, but uh, you have to hold them accountable to some point. At one point, I did find the person taking responsibility, and if even if he was not able to do a very effective job of controlling the class or his own peers who are the troublemakers, the overall level of class disruption would come down. And
Okay.
so I think similarly, what I want to draw analogy here is when we talk about how scared we are about the AI causing such biases. I think it's already creating a lot of waves in the US where
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
the 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 colored community has a lot of crime rates, and so AI has already formed opinions about how a criminal in a certain state in the US would look like, which is going to be very detrimental in how the thoughts of humans are also going to be shaped
Yeah,
in the future. So,
yeah.
similarly, over here, like Siddharth pointed out very validly, it is important that government and government aided bodies should definitely start creating a very strong regulatory body, and from where we start actively using the very AI that we are so scared of to regulate, to do those repetitive, laborious tasks where we uh, analyze the statistics out there to make sure that the technological innovations or new generative AIs that might come out there and start doing an uh, automatic learning, automated learning should find the right content, the right data to to form those I don't know, the algorithms which would pick certain imagery or certain content out there. Yeah, I think that's one way to go about it.
So
It
you
was
are saying humans should do a better job to train the AI and maybe learn from what mistakes we have been making. I mean,
so. Yeah,
in
I think it
in
goes
senses.
back to the human's intention first being corrected
Yeah.
before we correct the AI's intention. We are always scared about what the AI might do to us, and we rarely think about what we are doing to the AI in the first place. I think when we start there, the future is going to be less unbearable to us. Is what I think.
Hey, and I think you're stuck on. I mean, I'm stuck on with that thought process where you brought in saying that AI is a tool. It's not a competition. And that's very. I mean, I find that valid actually. Now, my perspectives have changed. That why am I looking at the? I mean, why did I look at the video in a perspective that AI is something against us? And I'm thankful for that. And I want to steer to another thought process about our children, right? And how they're innocent minds. They see what comes to them. Do we expose it to them right away at an early age and train them to use it well, or we wait for it to transform into a better version of its? What are your thoughts? I mean, Manish, I would. I know you have kids. I have kids as well. I'm concerned father. You are a concerned father as well. What do you
So
think? What
I
is?
I don't know, like whether they will wait for us to get exposed to it, but one fine day I mean my kids already have access and have their own personal tablets to work upon,
Yeah.
right? So but it is, though it is like I have installed all those kid mode and parent mode kind of softwares there to monitor what they are doing and whatnot. So before I could expose my elder daughter, who just turned, very very recently, she turned 12. And this is the story I'm telling you about, is like roughly last 1 year before. So at that time it was like 10 and a half or 11. So she was using Brainly to solve one of her homeworks,
Okay.
right?
Interesting.
Now Brainly is nothing but, again, kind of a chat GPT, which specializes in solving math, or the primary school level
Responses and stuff like that.
studies, right? I mean, the curriculum. So she already knew about it, and apparently most of her classmates use it, and that's why she got to know, I mean, that's where she got to know about it, and she started using it. Now I received a notification from Google saying that, okay, your kid is using Brainly. She opened a new website, and I had to counsel her. I mean, I cannot stop that because she already knows about it. If I stop it, it will have another psychological impact on her. So I cannot stop it, but I had to counsel her that no, this is not the way you're going to learn, because then you will lose your
Fair.
learning skills, and the cognitive skills to calculate or compute something, right? You need to learn, you need to understand the basics. So do your homework as you are expected to do without taking help from Brainly, right?
Yeah. I'm Siddharth. I don't know if you have kids. What do you have? Okay. So what is your perspective? What I mean, I'm afraid. I have not even. My daughter doesn't know. She's 5. She doesn't know to operate a phone. We are very strict about screen time at home. Super strict. I am only on the screens when I'm working. We're not. We don't watch TV at home. We have a very old TV, 7-year-old TV, purposely kept so that we can't toggle between apps, purposely blinded ourselves. But do you think that's? I mean, I know it's excessive, but do you think something like that has to be done for AI for our kids?
See,
Siddharth, over to you. What do you think?
yeah, so I don't believe in, these kind of restrictions, because eventually what will happen is that the kids will discover this, what Manish said, that his daughter is already using AI. So I think that, there is a French, philosopher Victor Hugo who once said that an ideal time has come, cannot be stopped. So AI is such idea which cannot be stopped now, and we cannot be insulated from its impact, be it us or be it our children. So we have to guide them to use AI responsibly. So and that is where our role as a parent comes. A second thing is that what Manish said, that using AI at an early age will reduce the propensity to learn. So
Yeah,
it is a kind of disadvantage for the kids. They will not apply their brains, and this is actually a threat to the cognitive capabilities of the human beings. And this is the threat which I am really worried about. In fact, in
fair.
one day I read in the newspapers that use of this internet and AI is creating some sort of digital amnesia, because people don't want
Forgetfulness.
to retain information, they don't want to retain vocabulary. So because everything is available on the internet, so what is the point of retaining? So whenever you come across something, you just Google it, search it, and you'll be able to know. So but that is very, very detrimental to the human brain. So we are actually degrading the functionalities of the human brain by not by using the AI. So on that area, I think we should be very careful about when we are exposing our children to use the AI. So we need to be very careful, and we need to understand how we can help our children adopt AI in a very, very
Use it efficiently. Yeah.
responsible manner. Yeah.
Yeah, use it efficiently, right? I mean, it could go in bad directions. You don't know what they're prompting once they're in that age. What kind of monitoring is in that application? So, a fair point. Kingsley, I mean the aspect of children is only worrying. It is always there for me subconsciously. I want to pose this to everyone. Maybe learn from you. Kingsley, what do you think as
Yeah,
well? And
my kid is
Debjit, after
around,
that, please.
yeah, he's around 2.5, and so he's definitely going to be exposed to AI, and the whatever worries that you or Manish or Siddhartha shared, I do share the same thing. And but it is, again, it's like any other social evil out there that the kid might be exposed to. See, me as an adult and we as adults, we haven't figured it out really how to
Yeah,
effectively use it. We are already learning, and so it would not be appropriate for me to expect the next generation to figure it out on their own. So it is up to us to counsel, like Manish said. Restrictions are going to increase the curiosity, and it might go any which way. So end of the day,
Yeah,
it's
in
up to
any
the
direction.
it's up to the kid to make that conscious decision, but it's up to us to counsel. First, we need to figure it out. For example, if I have an anger issue, I cannot expect my kid not to throw
Not to
his,
have an angry. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I relate to that by the way. I relate to
yeah.
that by the way. Absolutely.
So because the other day I had a problem with my kid throwing his toys on the TV screen, and I realized my father came and said, "Hey, you used to do that. You remember?" I was like, "Wow, first I need to change myself." So it's
And
up to
that's
us to,
maybe he has
yeah,
learned from it, right?
yeah, yeah. So so the kids are watching us. So we need to first, we as a
Very valid,
community,
man. Very valid.
as a community of tech startup founders, strategists, and professionals, right? Try to influence our own environment and the government and the country. We'll have to, as a community, we have to move towards regulating this and figure it out before the next generation starts making some grievous mistakes where we can't really control
Yeah.
things.
Imagine if it would have happened for electricity. I mean, electricity was a big revolution for the industry. But if people would not have learned to live with it, like what you rightly explained at the beginning, that we need to learn to live with the cars later on. If they would not have learned to live with it, then we would never had electricity. People would have been afraid and stopped that tech altogether to come out. Right? And I totally agree. Devjit, I mean, yeah, please, over to you,
I actually wanted to just take the baton on the other side, right?
please.
While I am in this forum, at least I'm not a person who has a kid, but everyone else, yeah, has one and is. You have certainly seen the advantages and the right way in which you can fine tune the exposure to TVs or even apps or everything. But while from the outside perspective, this is something that I want to understand from you. It's much more easier said than done that a healthy split between exposure to any app, TV, toy, or even AI tools for this matter, compared to free access to open AI, is something that is seen to be really good for the mental development of any child, right? Within the first 10 years or 15 years, right? So essentially, today, at least, there are a lot of these AI based games, right? That help you understand on the lines of what Baiju was doing with interactive learning. In the similar manner, interactive learning with different segments of GK or even mathematics or even science, right? Wouldn't you allow your kid a fair exposure, let's say from the age of 5 or 6, into those tools rather than giving an open access to ChatGPT or the one that Manish was mentioning for his child as well for doing homework?
Brainly, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I
So,
wanted to understand would you give a controlled access or would you still want to do, okay, I'm barring them from a free access? Yeah.
So,
Manish, yeah, Kingsley, anybody, yeah,
sorry if
please.
I can, right?
Yeah, please,
So,
please.
very valid and a wonderful question raised, Debjit. So, when you were asking this question, I was thinking about how many of us know how to chop wood and make fire today among us.
None
I
of
mean,
us, maybe.
so, I mean, for example, let's say Debjit's grandfather was a professional and still he knew how to make fire because he was from that generation which learned it in their childhood days. And so even though they transitioned into a civil services role or a professional role, they still knew the basics. And so
My
today,
father does. My father does. I'll give you
yeah,
my father's example. He
yeah.
knows.
So
He
I
knows to
mean,
do that.
so exactly. So my father didn't learn it in he didn't learn it from his father, but he learned it in his NCC camp, and I learned it way late into my life when I was by somehow I kind of got interested in camping, and so that's how I learned. But I don't use it at all on a daily basis. But probably our grandfathers and our great grandfathers would have used it on a daily basis to make their living day in and day out. But we all agree that it is a life skill. Tomorrow, if
Right.
civilization should collapse, it would definitely come in handy. So, but today we don't really care about it. Today, if Kingsley or Siddharth doesn't know how to make fire, who cares? You can do the other thing. Can you do FM1? Yeah, you're sorted. So that's the worry for today. But so drawing that analogy again, if a kid is not going to learn the basics that you and I would have learned, that's how we would draw. That's the scale against which we would measure, right? And our fathers would have measured it in a different scale, where they would have compared us to what they have learned as basics, and whether we are learning that or not, if we are using that or not. So I think we have to ask ourselves that question tomorrow. This teenager or this kid, not like ignoring certain basics and moving on thinking that this advanced education is it going to improve their cognitive skills, is it going to improve their analytical skills tomorrow, or is it going to you know hamper it or stunt it or make it redundant, so retarded. So that's something that we have to ask, and then
Think about it. Yeah.
the case we have to approach.
Yeah. So there's no one fit answer kind of. I mean, there's no common analogy or general answer
Yeah,
to this.
yeah.
Fair, fair. Manish, oh, you're on mute. You're on mute if you're saying something.
I think I would like to add on to Kingsley's perspective. Very rightly said, right? And I think as a parent, it's not that I don't want them to use or restrict some access to some, say, for example,
AI
some
brainly.
specific
Yeah.
tool or specific content or whatever, right? My concern for my kid is how to teach them survival tactics or survival skills, right? How to make them more analytical, and rather, like, even if it is about accessing some content or knowing some weird adult things, maybe, right? I want them to have have those access by my kid at a right age, not before, right? And not just from a perspective of adult content or whatever. I don't want my kid, like, at the early age of 5, 10, to even prepare for JE. I'm not of that kind of mindset where I want just thrust everything on my kid early, right? Let the time come. Let them let them be cognitively capable, physically capable to take the load, and then they can take it. And until that time, my job as a parent is to just teach them analytical skills, survival skills, and so on, and not at the same time not make them dependent on any specific thing, right? That is one aspect of parenting. Okay, if you cannot solve certain thing without using brainly, then you should stop using brainly, right? So that's where we as a parent need to cut down on dependencies. Let them, I mean, we need to teach them that, okay, without brainly also you have to survive, right? So you just learn those skills so that you can survive. Yeah.
Fair. Siddharth, if you, yeah, Kingsley, we'll just go over to Siddharth and maybe take a thought from him. You're on mute, Siddharth, if you're saying. Yeah.
So I think whatever points have been made by Debjit, Manish, and Kingsley, I agree to it. So we have to, we can't. I still believe that we can't completely restrict our children from using the AI. Some kind of limited exposure has to be there, as Manish said. So everything has a right time. So there is a right age to get exposed to different things.
Fair.
So we have to take it in that manner. So let's say if the kid is smaller, and if your kid is, let's say, 4 or 5 years old, so what kind of content he should be exposed to, and what kind of usage he should be
Should be
allowed
allowed.
to, yeah, he should be allowed with the AI. That we have to decide as a parent. But
So,
completely stopping it would not be a very good idea, because every
yeah.
generation has its own ways to learn. You know, we had our own ways. We are exposed to different things. Today this is Alexa is, then now AI is coming. So they will manage to learn how to deal with these things. But the only thing we can do is that we can be a shepherd or a guide for our kids, and we can we can help them adopt and adapt to this kind of technological advancements.
Yeah, I mean, the example, I quote this with that example. The example where recently in news, one of the girls used Alexa's barking noise to scare a monkey in the house. It was, do you think we could have done it in our age? I don't think so. So, Debjit, absolutely valid point. We need to teach them how to use tech. But again, I also, I mean, the screen time issue in my house is only because my daughter is 5. She doesn't know how to handle a screen yet. But when she becomes a 8 or a 9, I will teach her how to use certain apps. Absolutely, I'll teach her how to prompt probably when she's 12 or 10.
I think in that,
And
even in that particular story, right? Alexa was just one tool. I think the presence of mind built
yeah,
by, I mean, by
Yeah.
the girl's parent, or kind of
these are
learned by
cognitive,
her
right? They're
herself.
developing. Yeah,
Yeah, or developed by herself itself, right? Is something that needs to be appreciated, and that is what even I want from my kid to build, right? That the presence of mind, that analytical skill, that smartness, the street smartness rather. And once you have that, you'll use everything and anything around you. It can be Alexa, it could be something else as well, a robot maybe, right? So which is a variable which can change.
yeah, very very nice. Debjit, I hope that answers.
It,
Maybe you, when you have a kid, you'll do better than us.
I'll take some knowledge, inspiration from you guys. But certainly, as in a controlled exposure is definitely good. But the most important thing, I guess Manish covered it up very well, is the open mind, the open thought process towards immediate or a quick response, the street smartness. That's very important for any,
Yeah,
right? And I
know
guess,
how to survive. Know how to survive with everything around you. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. And I think we've had a wonderful discussion. I was very excited about this because I kind of had a panel today which had diversity in itself. And thanks to our college, because we have that diversity, I'm able to do such things. I'm able to learn myself. I had a lot of learning. I'll take this back to me while I'm sleeping. I will think about a lot of things. I'm serious about it. That and maybe reanalyze stuff, rethink stuff, which maybe I have made a fixed motion. I have created a wall in my mind. I'll break that wall for myself. So that's what I was longing for, and thank you everyone for doing this today. And then I mean, let's summarize it. Let's all put out one sentence or two sentences, whatever. I mean, not putting a limit to it. And how do we perceive this? I feel I mean, I was reading from this discussion as well. I feel we need to give AI a little more time. Let it develop in favors to the humankind. Let it come to a shape where I will start using it day in and day out, and I'll wait and watch till then, and I'll keep learning about it till then. And over to you guys, Devjit, if you want to give few lines about it, and then we'll close it.
No, it's absolutely. This discussion has been phenomenal in terms of opening the mindsets. But I'll keep a very short outro. We are, as in, the space that we are in is very exciting. In fact, I don't see it dying in terms of excitement, at least for the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah,
It's like a new age after the dot-com era. So definitely very exciting. But it's just that we should be very much open-minded in terms of the progress and accept what is possible and what is not possible with a with a bit of a common sense rather than going a little too radical about it. But I'm sure everyone is in a civilized country over here where we will take the right actions in the end of the day. So I'm
fair,
looking forward to the bright future. Yeah, yeah.
fair. Kingsley, over to you,
I think
please.
the best that we can do at this point, as of today or tomorrow, is to be, as users, be the responsible user that we just spoke about, if not responsible creators of this technology. And and we are discussing with the clients, and when we are implementing this technology at our workplaces, be the voice of reason, be the sensible sound mind there, and then try to shape it the way that the future will not look back and call us out, saying, why didn't you when you
Do
had
it in
the,
this.
yeah, when you had the time, why didn't you ask, or why didn't you reason it out? So yeah, I think that's what we
Fair,
can do
fair,
at this point of time.
fair, fair. Reason it out. Yes, fair. Manish.
Yeah, so like any other technology, right? I mean, it has both the sides, good and bad. So as in my starting comment, right? I mean, the speech that I made at the very start of this discussion, and tried to compare it with nuclear technology. Now, nuclear technology can be used for destroying a country, but it can
Yes.
also be used as an energy to light up our houses, right? So that
Light up
responsibility lies.
cities,
Yes,
states.
and
Yeah.
so is true with chemical, any chemical as well, right? There are chemicals which can be used for as a chemical weapon to destroy a country, but there are chemicals which can be used. I mean, the same chemical can be used for shining the gold, potassium cyanide, right?
Absolutely.
The responsibility is in our hands as a human, as a society, as a community, as a humanity overall. How do we want to play it out?
Fair
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Siddharth, and over to you.
So yeah, so I am very very optimistic about AI. So this is a kind of unprecedented development in the history of humans, and I believe that this is going to further unleash the potential of the human beings, and it can also unleash the animal spirits of the economy by fueling innovation and competitiveness and technological advancements. So the only caveat is that we need to be responsible when it comes to the use of AI as well as its development. And there should be debate and discussion about how we are going to create it, how we are going to use it, and how we are going to take it forward in future.
Yeah.
And it has to be a multi-stakeholders approach. I mean, every section of the society
Sure.
has to be made part of this kind of debate, which because this technology is going to have a far-reaching impact on the entire human race. 20 years from now, we can't say that AI will only have positive impacts. It may have negative impacts as well,
As well. Yeah.
and so we need to be prepared. We need to be very much prepared to tackle those negative impacts while leveraging the positive aspects of the AI. So
Yeah.
this is my take on AI.
Be responsible about it. I think, yeah, that's fair. Absolutely. And with this, let's end the discussion today. I'll post more such discussions. Very excited about how it's going. Thank you so much, and
Thank you,
have a
Shashank,
nice
for
weekend.
hosting
Yeah.
us in this
Yeah.
interesting topic.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll do more. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Have a
Thank
you.
nice
you.
weekend. Bye.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
guys.
Bye.